We've shut down the ancient machine that is responsible for the storms in Andra's mortar, and in the Rauatai lands too, I suspect. The Huana fleet sails off as I speak, and we are left here on our own. But we first have to find Eothas, and then determine what really happens here. When the gods are concerned or even frightened, they like to force this contact with me, which is normally fine, but I've already made up my mind of what to do with Eothas. Fortunately, they only seek to give me advice and not force me to do anything. They don't seem to have the power to force me to their will, so that is the one thing I can count on to help me here, my free will. After the past year of being in the Deadfire and figuring out what Eothas is up to, and what the gods are all about, and learning the costs of how they came to be, it's allowed me to determine my course of action this day. I will do whatever I can to bring the gods to an end, and allow us Kith to have the freedom to determine our own destiny. So in this area, Eothas and I are in complete agreement. The end of the wheel is not something I look forward to, as I am still not completely sure what will happen. Whatever it is, though, we Kith will have to work together to forge a better future, one without the meddling of the gods. Which is why their current attempt to give me last-minute advice will amount to nothing. My mind is made up. I don't think it will mean the end of Eora as some fear, but it will mean a new beginning. I look forward to the challenge, and I will remain, as long as I can, to help in whatever way I can. Eothas has become the one god that I can count on. I only wish I knew this earlier in my life. If they were all like him, then Eora would be a much better place.
Our intervention in your struggle would be a cruelty and counter to our purpose.
He lets his words hang in the air for a moment. Gaze, level with your own.
Indeed. Kith must discover for themselves what it is they are worth, and of what it is they are capable. What we do for them, they do not learn for themselves. Trial breeds ingenuity. If our work of generations was not in vain, Kith will succeed in spite of Eothas' actions. I have faith in Kith's ability to meet Eothas' challenge. Do not mistake my words for indifference, Watcher. They are born from a fierce belief in your potential, not a refutation of it.
Eothas wouldn't be doing this if he didn't agree with you. Maybe we're not doomed after all.
And yet you come to Ukaizo with only the Huana at your back. All that Kith stand to lose. And even then, your leaders could not join hands, squabbling instead over prestige and resources. You believe that will change when my final death comes calling. You are a greater fool than I thought.
I'm not going to listen out all the gods to you.
Margren is blinded by her affection for mortals. She does not see that entropy is the destiny of all things. If Eothas were wise, he would destroy everything. End life. End reincarnation. End death.
Yes, because an end is everything that you're about.
Kith have had their chance. It is time to let silence reign.
So absolute nothing with no consciousness, no bodies, no lives, no souls, no spirits, no gods, no world. That's an improvement. See, this is why I don't listen to these gods.
As Rimergon's words fade, the Pallid Night returns. She no longer towers over you, a giant even among the gods, but meets you at your height. She lets the arms crossed over her chest fall to her sides. She speaks to you openly, plainly, an expression almost like tenderness, turning up the corners of her lips.
Well, Watcher, you know where we stand. What do you believe?
True change, lasting change, it demands sacrifice. The coming days will be hard, but will be the better for it.
Take care that you do not sacrifice all, Watcher. Only what you must. The things you stand to lose, lives, institutions, beliefs, you may lose for good. Now the time has come for us to part, Watcher. I laid upon you a difficult duty. You will be free of it in time, but not now. You have work to do yet. You are no stranger to hard choices. You killed Theos, and when his soul was laid bare before you, you chose to banish it to Braith Aemon. You gave him the justice you believed he deserved. Remember the strength it took to make that choice, and know that you alone may sway Eothas now. When you stand before him, choose your words carefully.
She claps her gauntleted hands together, and a sound like thunder rumbles through the room. As the floor crumbles and falls away beneath you, you hear the sound of a single bell ringing, and beneath it, the faintest whisper.
There he is. You can now see him through the storm, or the storm that's no longer there. Consciousness returns in a wave as the last of the machine's energy dissipates. The calming of the storm reveals the sprawling city around me, like sand white from a mosaic. I see the distant outline of Eothas raising his fist in triumph and purpose.
You keep falling asleep on me, I'm gonna have to start walking behind you with a pillow. Oh, by the way, the storm's gone. Also, I think Eothas has ended the world.
Adair takes a long draw from his pipe and nods as he stares at the Colossus in the distance.
It seems we're all still here.
Eothas glances around, rubbing his head gingerly.
Do not touch the machine again, I say. The delicate fish can only take so much.
Squeezing his eyes shut, Takehu rests his head in his palm. I don't plan to touch it again.
God's darnation. My head.
Shoti presses a palm to her brow as she struggles to her feet. Peering over the edge of the tower, I make out a distant shape amid the ruins below. An iron-studded warship has dropped anchor in the shallows, its cannons angled to the shore. The ship is nearly cracked in half, but the standard of the Royal Deadfire Company persists in flapping with the breeze. The empty deck tells that the surviving crew have long since boarded a skiff and rowed to shore, which means that we are no longer alone in Ukaizo. Maybe they came to negotiate. Or maybe they came for a final standoff. I don't know. But let's get down there now that we can actually go into the city. Everything's still wet. It's been rained on for 2,000 years. Okay, well, I would really like to go back. I'd like to go to where Eothas is, actually. Where he's trying to destroy that wheel. But perhaps we have to deal with the Rauatai first. I really, really hope. Before we seek out the Rauatai, I do believe that we should try to rest at least one final time. Fried ugly? Okay. I'm feeling better. Well, if they were going to meet us, it would be here. Hasnu Hikaru approaches, her weapon drawn. Her face is bruised and cut, and her uniform torn from the rough journey, but her eyes are clear and focused on me.
What you people from lush, bright lands fail to grasp is that Rauatai isn't a storm-tossed spit of land. It's the Kith who stand together there.
Captain, Watcher, there's a right and a wrong about this, drawn as clearly as a line in the sand. I know what side I'm on.
She grips her weapon and stares me down. Ishiza glances between us, seeming less certain. Which is really bad, because Maya's here, and I never want to face against her. At one point, I even thought about romance with her. Considered it, but Shodi kind of cured me of that.
Ukaizo belongs to us. We've earned it with blood and sweat.
You've earned it. Your ancestors came from here. Your ancestors still remain. The Huana own Ukaizo. You have no right to claim it. You left. You have your own homeland now. It's not Ukaizo, and it's not the Deadfire.
And no one shall take it from us now.
Greedy, selfish, thinking of no one but yourself, no one but power. I don't want to fight you.
This is greater than the two of us, Watcher. Rauataians, defend Ukaizo!
It's not yours to defend. Alright, Adair, you're gonna have to go forward. There's so many of them there that I doubt I'll be able to stand back and use my bow. If we have to fight, we have to fight.
Damn it.
Oops. What?
I wish I could.
You don't have to go over there, Adair, or Eothas. What the heck are you doing? Just cast your spell.
Done something? Got to keep the lad on his feet. I wish I could.
Oh, Eothas. You're kind of useless. You can't do anything. You're useless.
Damn it. Got away.
Storms. Lots of them.
That must hurt.
Hey, I'm gonna use my sword on this guy right in front of me. Rauataian soldier.
Can't afford to lose another.
Eothas, taking up valuable resources. You're not doing anything.
What I say? That's it.
Oh, that got him. That helped a lot.
That looks.
Too slow.
Leave it to me.
Hey, this guy in front of me has to die.
Indeed.
Second try, I saw. Got it.
Didn't work.
Ah, got him. Okay, time to whip out that bow. Focus on the nearest soldier.
No one noticed that.
Take some of this things to help my overall defenses. We have a bomb. You have a bomb, at least. Throw it over there. Oh, Maya. That was Maya's end. Ah, I guess the Hasnui's dead. Okay. There's just a few of them left. I think I can use my sword now.
Let's go.
Good teamwork.
Just like that.
Hasnui and Maya are dead. And Takehu gets the final blow. Wow, it worked out. I am very, very sorry it came to this, Maya, but you chose the wrong side.
I've got it.
Here's her equipment. Well, if it is the end of the world, picking up the equipment might mean nothing. I don't want it to be the end of the world.
Right.
Only one that took... Well, the only casualty we had was a loss. Went down. Okay, so we can probably take the stairs that were inaccessible from earlier. Let's just hope that there's another ship full of Rauatai or the Valians. Maybe Pelagina and the Valians will show up to stop us now. Really what I don't want. Okay, so about an hour it took us to get over here to where Eothas is, bashing the wheel apart.
You descend into the ancient winding streets of Ukaizo. Battered by storms for thousands of years, the ruins bear the marks of their role as the lone witnesses of the gods' great secret at the center of the city. The houses and boulevards are pierced by great spears of luminous Audra. There are no ashen bodies, no birds, no sign or sound of any life. But with every step, the rhythmic pounding in the distance draws nearer. Soon, you can feel the vibration traveling up your spine.
This is it. The center of the god's power, and also the source of... Not the main source. There was reincarnation before, but I guess this sort of made it orderly and... Yeah.
As you approach the center of the city, the weathered architecture gives way to more luminous Audra, piercing the ruins, eventually overtaking them entirely. Cresting the top of a fallen tower, you finally get a clear view of Eothas. He stands, legs astride, next to a great stone monument ringed with 11 cavernous alcoves. All but 3 hold a gargantuan skeleton, bones scrubbed clean by the city's storms. An immense Anguithan machine floats above the monument, suspended by invisible energy emanating from a well of light beneath it. Great brass rings spin around a core of metal and Audra at the machine's center. Periodically, Eothas's massive arms swing back. The movement alone is enough to draw great gusts of wind toward him. When they come down on the machine, the impacts are accompanied by eruptions of electricity, fire, and smoke. The hundreds of luminous Audra pillars across Ukaizo sympathetically dim in a rippling wave that spreads out from the machine.
Oh, wow.
The only safe route to the god is a steep ascent along a monstrous pillar of luminous Audra. Intertwined with fragments of Ukaizo's ruins that it has carried through the centuries, the pillar bends in a long arc, towering above the machine. The pillar levels out near Eothas's head, a silent observer to the destruction of the machine it has grown beside over thousands of years. You weave your way along a treacherous rain-slicked path up the pillar's skyward side. As you arrive at the top, you catch Eothas's attention. Fist pulled back, he pauses to observe you. With the same gentleness he showed at Ashen Maw, he lowers his arm and turns toward you.
Strange to see Ukaizo in this way.
This is the only way I've seen it, so I suppose you knew it in better days.
It may be hard to picture, but this city was once full of life. The Huana, yes, but also Kith from many other cultures.
I witnessed it. I didn't witness the city. I was told from the king in Rimmergan's realm what had happened, and I just imagined. It was great once, and the destruction would have been horrible. That's why he clung to life, even in Rimmergan's end.
Great hanging trees shadowed these boulevards. Gardens sprawled across the open rooftops. Each spring, a festival procession would wind its way from the hillside into this valley. The celebrants would pass through a steep walk among the stalls of foreign merchants, flowers falling upon them from all sides. All people of all nations, together in a celebration of new life. Such was the power and beauty of lost Ukaizo.
All the nations would have been different back then. That's all I know is the Eothas and ancient Ukaizo. I don't know of anybody else.
Can all of that beauty and life return to this place, Mighty One? Has the future of my people awaited them here?
Lost Ukaizo remains only in name, Tekehu. It is a name as barren as this city.
It can be reclaimed in time by your people, but it will never be what it was, ever.
If future generations wish to create life in this place, they must look forward as much as they look back.
If we don't fix this mess you're about to cause, the whole world is gonna look this bad. I mean, it's a mighty heavy load you're putting on our shoulders. I just hope we can carry it.
As long as there are people like you in this world, Adair, I truly do. This power has always been in the grasp of mortals. Now you will finally be aware of it. Now you will be able to decide what to do with it.
Gone, please, I'm begging you. What do I do following this? How am I to best serve those still living? To improve our future chances of survival?
The Deadfire and the Eastern Reach are full of animancers. Women and men with brilliant minds who can solve this great problem.
I hope so.
They will also need people with brilliant souls, like you, Shodi. People who can tend to the spiritual needs of the world in a time of fear and desperation. Remember, the flame you bear is not only light, but warmth. Provide comfort to all who need it.
Eothas shakes his head, looking up at Eothas.
What right do you have to do this? Destroy the wheel and leave us with nothing? Without even knowing what will come next?
Aloth, we are all, gods and mortals, responsible for our own actions. But inaction carries its own moral responsibility. It is a burden I have carried for far too long. One must always do as their conscience dictates, even if that means abdicating a position of power. But what of you, Watcher? Why have you followed me? Have you come to bear witness to the breaking of the wheel?
Mortals are going to need a head start on things to prevent the gods from re-establishing control. You'll need to inspire them.
Mortals are already inspired. It is what has pushed them on for hundreds of generations to reach this point in time. Animancy is poised to go far beyond what we Eothas ever discovered. Why does Helia think I should lend more power to mortals?
Oh. Because I believe in Kith. Believe in our potential to do good in this world.
As do I. From where should mortals draw their inspiration?
They should look to the future. Their imagination and inventive spirit should guide them. I would say to the past, but that's all controlled by the gods. There's so much intervention there that I wouldn't even... No. A fresh start. Look to the future.
Very well, Watcher. I will ensure that mortals are inspired by my passing, that my power not be expended in vain. Indulge me in a moment's curiosity. There is something I wish to know about Eora, about Kith, that I can only learn through your eyes.
What could I know that you don't?
You followed me all this way, dodging an armada, navigating an impenetrable wall of storms, voyaging across uncharted seas.
Yeah, I did a lot of that.
Besting a guardian who existed to bar your trespass, with the machinations of gods echoing in your ears. All the while trusting in the institutions of Kith to get you this far, and earning their trust in turn. Whatever else happens this day, that much is remarkable. I believe that mortals possess the strength to collaborate and shape a future of their own design. Not all of my brothers and sisters agree.
This I know well.
By relying on others and coming together in a time of crisis, you illustrate my point. The gods will witness you and question their assumptions about how responsible, empathetic, and sophisticated mortals can be. What inspired your decision, Watcher? Did the choice echo your foundational beliefs? Or were you influenced by observation?
Well, there's several different things, but... It's Boudica that said that we need to be led, and otherwise we'll fall apart. I wanted to prove Boudica wrong, at least not just Boudica, the idea that she was pushing. That the gods will always need to be here to control us and lead us, Kith. She thinks mortal cooperation is destined to fail.
Boudica has been especially active since the downfall of her favorite operative. Have you ever considered that she is mentoring his replacement?
That's a troubling thought.
My brothers and sisters never act when the gains are strictly short-term. If Boudica's shadow has fallen upon you, that can only mean she recognizes your potential to further her ambition. I thank you for your perspective. Yours is not the only opinion that concerns me, but for the moment, it offers much to consider. All I ever wanted for mortals was growth, transformation. Once, my brothers and sisters shared this goal.
Yes, and I think that now all they want is power over Kith forever, and to rule Eora as it is their world. This has to end.
Some have forgotten themselves, giving in to fatalism or tyranny. Others have succumbed to apathy. It brings me great sorrow that crisis is the only way to set the future in motion. Would that I could pass the responsibility of heralding your darkest hour to another. Never forget that trust and coordination between mortals brought you to this place. Your future is built on a foundation of hope, and you have laid the first stone.
Before it's over, it's my turn to ask the questions.
Ask. You are entitled to any answer that is mine to give.
This wheel thing really bothers me. I know it's the source, the power source of the gods, but it's also the source of reincarnation. So what happens after the wheel breaks?
The great work of the Engwithans falls to ruin. Reincarnation as we know it will end.
It will never happen again? What happens to the in-between?
Souls which currently await new life in the beyond will be born into the world as normal.
Oh.
But their numbers will not replenish. Anything that dies will tarry in the void of the in-between, awaiting the motion of a wheel that no longer turns. Once the beyond has emptied, every birth will be hollow-born. Other maladies of the soul may follow, and plague those who linger in life.
I don't want that future.
Unless mortals work together to carve a new path, the essence of life will be trapped in the netherworld. Gods will starve. Eora will grow silent and cold.
This could be what Rimmergan wants. How long until Eora is devoid of all life?
A generation or more. That much essence is already poised to flow into Eora. But unlike an hourglass, no amount of turning will compel the sand to reverse its course.
Perhaps we can create a new wheel without the gods, and just have it so we can reincarnate.
Should you choose, you could lay down your burden and trust in your children's children to set matters right. That depends entirely on you.
No, I will fight with all my strength to make sure that we have a future. I'm not just going to lay down now.
By your reckoning, there are still good years to come. By ours, time is short.
Won't reincarnation just go back to how it was before the wheel?
When we tamed the cycle of reincarnation, we broke what had once functioned naturally and without intervention.
Oh.
The flow of essence will not normalize on its own.
That's not good.
Essence will simply pool in the void of the in-between, never passing through Adra networks to the beyond. The dead will be left to wander in darkness, confusion, and sorrow.
And I've seen enough of that in my time. Well, mortals aren't the only ones in jeopardy. What you're doing threatens the gods.
Yes. They must work toward a solution or perish.
The gods? They might just create another wheel and we'll be back to where we were.
If that task is beyond their skill, then they no longer deserve their position. I would have them justify their right to lead. That could mean swallowing their pride and hearkening to the wisdom of mortals. Some, I expect, will perform better than others.
How can anyone trust the gods after what you've done?
No one is worthy of unconditional trust. If you feel the gods are beyond forgiveness, then they don't deserve your obedience. Make your future one that doesn't require them.
That's what I aim to do.
Should you choose to accept the gods, I hope that you temper your faith with skepticism.
Boudica sees this as a test, one we're destined to fail.
Boudica is entitled to her opinion. If the intent of this test is to justify an uprising to come, that is more worrisome.
Well, as you said, she has plans for everything. And, she may be trying to use this to her benefit and become the queen of the world, as she had said.
The other gods must decide for themselves if mortals are ready to dictate their future. Should Boudica's tyranny prove the only alternative, mortals must prepare for a terrible conflict.
Yes.
Your perspective bridges eternity, Watcher. Many will look to you to mediate differences that could shake the very foundations of Eora.
You've had millennia to do this. Why now?
For several reasons. My strength was diminished after the Godhammer bomb, and assuming this form took incredible effort. With so many vying for control of the Deadfire, I also saw a ripe opportunity for mortals to cast aside their differences and stand together as one. They have never been more powerful, more capable. Because of this, the gods must justify their importance or be proven obsolete.
Okay, let's talk about Cadnua. I still haven't forgiven you for it.
I apologize, Watcher. There is nothing I can do to restore the glory of your hard-won and poorly situated estate. What happened to Cadnua was not personal in nature. I would have occupied the statue even if it was buried beneath Defiance Bay.
The capital of the Deerwood.
Given your perseverance, I know that a second home cannot be distant in your future. You have only to seek it out.
Okay then. Well, I think that covers it all. What happens next?
I must attend to my final work now. I cannot delay any longer. You have carried a heavy burden across the Deadfire, Watcher. Before I go, I would rid you of it.
You will. No sooner has Eothas' words entered my mind than I hear one final dissonant ring of the chime within me, then silence. The knot that formed when the Pallid Knight first addressed me in the Beyond is now gone. Oh. I think that is good. Thank you very much for that. Now I don't have to get them chiming in and taking my consciousness away so they can just yell at me again.
You are free now. As free as any of us can be. Many will come to you for help in the years ahead. Animancers, priests, even the gods themselves.
Well, I'm not even in my mid-30s yet, so hopefully I'll have a long life to live.
I have great hope for you. But always remember that your future is for you to decide. Use your freedom well.
Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.